Today's video, we're going to be talking about money. How much did I make as a new grad nurse? How much could you possibly make? How much do nurses make, period? Let's get started. So this answer is obviously going to be varied and highly dependent on your location or what state you live in, or even if you're cross country, because there's nurses everywhere, right? So I myself, when I graduated as a new grad nurse, I made $48 an hour working on a med-surg floor in California. And several months after I became, not several months, let's do the math. I started in August of 2020. So about 5 or so months later, I got my bachelor's. Becoming a nurse and being a night nurse as a new grad with an associate's degree, you also get a differential when you work night versus day shift. So there's more pay, maybe $1 or so, something along those lines. You might get a little bump in pay for being a night nurse. There's a differential. I was an associate's prepared nurse. I was a new grad, so $48 is where I started. Several months later, 5 months later, I got my bachelor's degree. And then you get another differential. You get a bump in pay for being a bachelor's degree prepared nurse at that hospital. So then I made $52 an hour. And then I quit bedside and I was at $52 an hour. That's in California. Now, depending on where you live, your pay range may be different. I looked on allnurses.com and there were like a plethora of nurses going in on how much they make. This can depend on whether you're an LVN versus a CNA, whether you're an LVN versus a registered nurse. Most of the time, registered nurses will be paid more than an LVN, but I've seen it to where an LVN who has had years of experience will get paid more than a registered nurse. So, and again, that depends on experience. So registered nurse could be a new grad. And it just depends what type of nurse you are and what state that you're in. I have heard that in the South, they pay less than California or New York. I have heard that California and New York are the higher paying areas. Here in California, we're split by region. So like in Southern California, they make less than Northern California, from what I've seen. This could differ. I have no idea why that could be because I feel like Southern California is heavily populated. So I feel like you should be more. You should make more if you're in that region. And again, I don't know for sure. These are statistics taken off of websites. Northern California, when it comes to the Bay Area, you make bank there, but also the cost of living is high. I'm not sure if I will estimate that the cost of living in the Bay Area is higher than Southern California, but I think it depends on what regions of Southern California. So I would think that Los Angeles versus San Francisco, they should be making equal money or be right there together. And this depends heavily on the cost of living, as I said. This also depends on what floor you're working on, what floor you're working on, what unit you're a part of. So med-surg versus the ED versus ICU versus PACU versus the OR may all get paid different rates because of what you need to be doing. Typically, if you have to deal with more critical patients, you'll probably get paid more in those slightly more in those various positions. And then it also depends if you are an outpatient nurse, if you are working in a plastic surgery clinic that is owned by a private doctor, and the cost of living in your area. These are all things to consider. What you can do is go on websites like Reddit and even allnurses.com. They have this question every now and then, and there will be nurses responding like, how the heck do you make more than me? They'll literally drop their pay range because it is anonymous. Now me as a UM nurse, I on a yearly basis, I make $100K. I make more than $100K that is not a brag, because 100K is like nothing today, okay? That is, and this isn't bragging like how people used to do a few years ago about making 6 figures. This isn't bragging at all, because 100K ain't nothing nowadays. But that is how much I make as a UM nurse. I make over 100K right now. So it just depends on what specialty you go into. But overall, try not to do this for the money, because it will not be worth it to you. You will never feel like you get enough money if you are working bedside. Now, in other specialties, you might feel like, oh yeah, I could deal with this. This is cool. Like me right now as a UM nurse, I'm cool. I love this. I love everything about this job, and I hope it lasts forever. Not forever, like I want to retire, and I hope that this is the job I retire at, for real. But hopefully, if you're nosy about how much I made or how much you might make as a new grad, those are the resources that I can give you. Those websites, All Nurses, Reddit just be, going off, crashing out, whatever you want to say, because everything's anonymous. So take advantage of that. Glassdoor is another resource for you to look up pay ranges, but it basically varies. Now, was the sleep worth it for me? Jumping from the career that I had before jumping from the job that I had before, no. I was a manager in my last job, and I basically made the same that I made as a new grad nurse. So now it's worth it, yeah, sure, because I'm in a different thing. I have a few years of nursing behind me. I've been a nurse for 5 years now, so yay. But typically when people say they've been a nurse for some time, they're talking about a bedside nurse. So if you are talking about that, I've only had 1 year of experience bedside nursing as a nurse before I figured this is not for me. And I'm not going to stick around to give it my all. I know myself. And if I don't like something, if it makes me break down inside, if it just makes me think about it, like I'm on my off day and this is my first off day and I'm thinking about the day I have to go to work, it's not for me mentally. So I left it, and now I am a UM nurse. So no regrets here. Hopefully you found this video helpful and that it quells your nosiness if you wondered how much I made or how much you could possibly, how much a new grad actually makes. Also, that was working 3 shifts a week, 12-hour nights. So anyway, hopefully you found this video helpful. And if you have any comments, anything you'd like to share, please drop it down below and I will get to it. If you do not get a response or see your comment right away, please do not freak out. I look at the comments on specific days now, typically Fridays, and you might find your comment being approved then, depending on if it's rude. If it's rude, that's an automatic delete. I don't care for the rudeness. If it's anything else, I'm gonna post it. But anyway, if you're wondering what it's like to work on a med-surg floor, watch this video here. Otherwise, I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.